What's going on, everybody? Matt with Middle Tennessee Geek coming back at you. Um, Told you going to record back to back, so I'm feeling the same. But we're going to go ahead and dive into issue number 3 of the Spider-Man 94 comic book series that's come out. So I told you in the last video I was going to try to get it out quicker for us, and we're not going to recap issue 2 because where I'm doing these so close together that I feel it's not necessary. So you can always just go back and watch it, to be honest with you, because I'll probably post these pretty quickly together of issue 2 and 3 since I was so far behind. So let's go ahead and dive into issue number 3. And we have a very weird looking cover. I mean, it's the guys on the 3 hands for that was in the last book of the bad guys, it looks like. And then we have Morlun. So let's go ahead and dive into book number 3. Come on, there we go. And we start off with the Sims Foundation, which is Morlun's, basically Morlun's place, and you'll find out more about that. But we see the tiger kind of coming out of the dark. And I can't attempt to say this. Quiet Caldinia, we don't reveal ourselves just yet. So remember, just previously we saw at the last page that Kraven the Hunter was in town. So then we're just going to see where that leads up. Chapter 3, Totems. But soon, my friend, soon. So we see, Kraven still standing still with his lion. And as we mentioned in issue 2, it did say next was going to be Morlun's story, basically. And this is kind of where it leads off. The Earth was a primitive beastal. No intelligent species exists on the planet. Your history is wrong. Long before recorded time, great races descended from the heavens, rose above, and the seas flew through the air, filling the world with wonders and terrors beyond imagination. Great civilizations lost to the memory of humankind. And as we see here, so Celestial, if you're one of the few people that actually watched the Eternals movie, we know about the Celestials that basically become the foundation of worlds. And that's kind of why I see it here, because we see people, kind of mimic, the Eternals. There's several around them. So, and Roosevelt, and of course, the hundreds of thousands of years, and among them was my home, the majestic kingdom called Loka, Lokka. I'm assuming that's how you say it. I was Prince Morlun, the child of a foolish king who died too young, raised by a mother far stronger and wiser than her moldering husband. So, got a lot of nice things to say about his dad, apparently. She was expected she expected me to take the throne one day, claim it to my own, restore Loka to past glories. But much to my mother's dismay, I rejected that, and I perceived as the boring, sedentary existence of a royal, and instead embraced a life of adventure and exploration. So instead of just sitting back and just doing nothing, he wanted to go out and venture and create his own path. And I'm kind of going to read more into this so you guys know more of his power and whatnot. And I'm not going to read every little thing, but I feel like it's kind of needed right here in this section. For years, I traveled the world, encountered magic and miracles, violence and transcendence, sacredness, and unspeakable sin. But I returned when the kingdom of my birth was invaded by an army of mysterious hybrid creatures, leading Loka's military against the invading horde. These creatures, these totems, that's that word we learned about in issue 1, about totems, which is basically creatures with powers, or beings with powers, as I've come to call them, and had been among us hidden in shadow for centuries. Part human, part beast, these totems carried the legacy of each species, a living bridge between both worlds. And during that fateful battle, I discovered, I wish this quit popped up. Whoops. There we go. I discovered that I had a strange connection to these beings, and their life force could feed my own, transforming me granting me extraordinary abilities. So he didn't know he had this power, and just somehow during the course of battle discovered it. Well, I mean, if you feel like, what would you do? I guess you feed into that crave for the everlasting life. I don't know, however you want to put it. I got my own psychosomatic theories about that, but to each his own. Extending my life span by years, decades, millennia. I had some progenitor. I'm not a great speller, guys, or great reader either. So you tell me if I'm saying that word wrong. Of mine, I wonder, been one of those beasts, was I a mutant, born with the ability to devour their souls? I've never learned the answer. So as long as this guy's been alive, he's never learned why he has this ability. And perhaps the beast's life in the end is an unfathomable mystery. We either embrace it or go mad. The invaders were repelled some at time, as it inevitably does, swept forward, Loka fell. New civilization rose from the ashes of the old, and I lived on. So I mean, he's kind of immortal. I mean, he's not same as the guy from DC, which name escapes me right now. Tell me in the comments. I know you guys know it. Crossing continents, cultures always seeking the totems that, like me, survive the wars, the plagues, the natural disasters that seem to forever haunt humanity. So, I mean, again, he goes out and seeks these, what he calls totems, which is just beings that have this, the power of part human, part beast, that, carry on, that he absorbs their life energy. Always feeding on them, adding to my power, but it was a long and weary game, and time and again, I needed to retreat, renew myself. Entering kind of stasis within a cocoon of my own, which, remember when we got to book 1, we seen him being opened from a cocoon from Cain, and he'd been there, hibernating for 6 months, regenerating. So weaving sometimes for weeks, sometimes for decades, and each time I emerged. And I became the game anew. So this is kind of just back history of the course of time. For so long, I simply walked in my eternal path, assuming new names, new identities, exalting the supernatural power granted me by preposterous fate. But then one day, having grown jaded and tired, I asked the question all men must ask, inevitably ask, of why am I here upon this earth? And that's a good point. I mean, if you're immortal, why are you? I mean, what's the point? Of course, no divine creator manifestor answered me, but an answer came nonetheless. With the marvels of the modern world, the modern age. Excuse me. You see Sims and Company here, hanging up here. So remember, I told you earlier, this was Sims Foundation building. That's kind of him. This is kind of answering that questions of how. The first seeds of the Sims Foundations were sown. I would inspire humanity, lift them out of the mud, lead them toward a higher destiny, hiding the truth of my immorality by becoming, in turn, Gabriel's son and grandson and great-grandson. So he just kept becoming his own descendant, playing both part of ancestor and heir. And now today, Ezekiel Sims, my empire, far greater than Loka's encompass to the entire world. But the capacitor's fate I spoke of has willed against me. The endless centuries of feeding, retreating, regenerating have all taken their toll. I, Ezekiel, I'm Morlun, I am dying. Is he dying though? Burning through the life energies of my victims at an accelerated rate, and soon, very soon, those energies won't be enough to sustain me. So does that include feeding on Cain like he has been? Is it not becoming enough anymore? That's my friend, is my worst fear. You've come, discovered you are a new kind of totem for a new age, and feasting upon your unique soul will grant me another 100 years of life. And another 100 years to bring my vision to fruition. And for that, I will forever remain indebted to you. I mean, at this point, he's talking to Spider-Man. No, let me lead off here. See, right here, Cain is taking him out of the cocoon he's been made into from Morlun. And lead on to the next page of, excuse me. I know the good you've done, tragedies that you endured in the name of good. Do you see now how you understand could possibly speak, measure your only one life against the salvation of the world? So this guy's twisted to the fact that he thinks he can save the world. He just needs the time to do it. It's kind of like Avatar. So it always regenerates new life. It's like I just didn't have the time, so they always take time. Anyway, rabbit trail on that one. The spider is important, but Peter Parker simply doesn't matter. Everyone matters more than, including those thousands of totems you heartlessly murdered. What makes you think that you deserve the life more than anyone else? Because I do. Duh. Have you been listening? I was born to redeem mankind. I don't recall mankind asking you to redeem it. Fair. I hope you'd understand. I hope you'd be willing to give yourself to me. But you won't understand. But you won't surrender. And this is where it just gets nasty. He's just spitting out carcass goo. It's just nasty. So he's putting him in, a cocoon. How he can create that out of his mouth, we don't know. He just can. I'll let you guys kind of read that on your own. Ezekiel Sims has never been hailed as a visionary genius, and he carelessly crossed it. I have foundation business to attend to for now, but I will return soon to begin the complex process of making your power. Okay, so he's taken off. He's got a business foundation thing to attend. So he's kind of just leaving Spider-Man in this cocoon. The Amazing Spider-Man trapped in a web. It's almost funny, kind of, but I don't feel like laughing. My limbs are like bread. I can barely move. It's not just my limbs, my thoughts, my focus. They're like collapsing in. So I guess there's some kind of venom or something within the web or within the cocoon that's kind of just slowly killing him or making him just numb or putting him to sleep or some sort. But then we have Kane step up. So vulnerable. What would my father do if I killed his precious Spider-Man totem? And, this is where we're getting back to Kane doesn't know who he is, but he feels a connection to Spider-Man. Something about the spider confuses me and touches me in a way neither fathom nor explain, as if he holds the key to my own origins, the gaps in my memory. What is it, Spider-Man? What is it, Spider? Why do you? Because he's hitting his head and gets these flashes of, you see Peter himself in the Flash, Mary Jane, and others and whatnot. Looks like, I'm actually looking at it, but it's when he crashed through the window in issue number 1. So, so now my thoughts, just feeling as abducted but stronger now to within me. Excuse me. And one feeling rises above the rest, the woman. So her presence sleeps into my very cells. How's this happening? Why is this happening? What are you, Spider? And more importantly, and he's kind of just leaving Spider-Man as he is. What am I? Okay. So now we're following up for when we found out that May knows that Peter's Spider-Man. So we're going to, that Peter is Spider-Man. He's my nephew. Well, we lived under the same roof side by side under all these years. How could I not? I may be an old woman, Mary Jane, but I'm no fool. Fair enough. Oh, it took some time to admit to myself he was easier to live in the dial. And you were never tempted to tell him and add to his burden. So this is really nice to think about that, Peter's got the world on his shoulders as Spider-Man and keeping his secret. He feels like he's protecting his Aunt May by not telling her and protecting her. And I think just the knowing might put more burden on him. She didn't want to do that. She wants him to be able to come home and be Peter. So, it's a really nice, really well written statement here. So no, I never do that. Tim is incredible. It is incredible, maybe too much for one man. True, but that does make a difference to our Peter. He'll how he is. He'll take the whole world on his shoulders and ask to carry more. But isn't it hard? Mary Jane asked, living with the secret, knowing you could lose him at any moment, wondering if what he's doing is worth the risk and pain. It is, and Peter's life without me. What be without me? No, without us. He's always watching out for the world. That's why the two of us have got to be here. And I'm sorry I kind of skip around because I don't want to read everything word for word for you guys. I want you to still be able to pick up the comic and issue and do it, but there is some pages that just need everything read off. And we got here on the next page, Spider-Man's trying to tussle himself out, just through sheer will. I can't, and you can see it here. The words are smaller and they build up. I can't give up. I can't let Morlun win. After all, Mary Jane I went through, and the words are getting bigger. So always sacrifice. So he's punched out. I can't let him. So he's getting out. Win. I can't let him win. And then they're just trying to get out of the place. He stumbles onto this creature, wherever that is, some kind of creation by Morlun through different animals. But even more than be so, then crashed. Somehow this creature that was once just kind of hanging there, and now all of a sudden can just bust through that for some reason. Unprovoked, who knows? That didn't make sense to me. So he gets a hold of Spider-Man. He's getting thrown around. He goes, I'm so sorry, MJ. I just can't fight anymore. Eek. And then here we have Kane coming in through the window. Mary Jane thinks it's Peter at first, but it's Kane thinking what's happening to him. And then he actually reveals his face that's deteriorating. He goes, why am I having these feelings? Why do I love you? And then we lead off to I face Dr. Octavius, Venom, Hydro-Man, Carnage, all of the Telltale. I just can find the strength to get up. I'll beat this thing. And who we have coming in? We have Kraven actually come in and stab the beast in the back. Actually, looks like through the heart, actually. Excuse me. Kraven, indeed. And the time has come, Spider-Man. My final hunt ends, and we see here it kind of gets lit off, throwing the spear through. It doesn't show where it goes, but it says my final hunt ends tonight. And next issue, Heart of the Hunter. So presumably we're going to find out more about why Kraven's there and who's he hunting. I would presume it's not Spider-Man, but because issue 2, he was speaking to his inner monologue with Morlun. So all right, so that concludes issue number 3 of the Spider-Man 94 comic book series. Again, like I said in the last issue, or originally supposed to be 4 according to the information we got, but actually according to Kindle or Amazon, there's 5 issues. So next issue is due out, according to my information, December 24th, which will be Christmas Eve. We'll get it digitally. As far as when we'll get an actual book in hand, I don't know. I'm still trying to collect them as I go. But I'll try to get a video quicker out that time because I'll have some time off to hopefully spend a few minutes and just get it knocked out for us. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about this comic book series so far. I'm enjoying it. I knew I was going to enjoy it just if it was half decent, and it's been really good. First issue I had to do a lot of deep diving and learning the characters, which we've done. But now we're on Kraven the Hunter, which is one I'm very familiar with. He was all in the series for several episodes. So don't forget to share, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, anyone that could enjoy this kind of content. Let me know what you think about these, kind of just going over not necessarily comic book reviews, but just kind of going over the comic themselves. I know I kind of grazed through some of those wordings just because I want you guys to have a reason to pick the book up or get a digital copy to read it in its entirety to yourself. But you're getting majority of the story here. And I apologize, my voice is giving out. But let us know what you'd like to see in a future video. What was your thoughts about issue number 3? Actually, excuse me, issue 3. What do you hope to see in issue number 4? And don't forget to unleash your geek, let your fandom shine, and have a good one.